Peace be with you, brothers and sisters. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something that is deeply profound, yet absolutely practical for our everyday lives, the order of relationships. We often think of our relationships, whether it's with friends, family, or coworkers, as this completely separate compartment of our lives. It's something we try to manage with, communication techniques or the latest self-help books. But today, we're going to flip the script. We're looking at relationships through a totally different lens, a lens of spiritual restoration and divine connection. As we'll see how we actually relate to one another, well, it's the ultimate barometer of our spiritual health.
Let's jump right into the foundational truth here. If I could summarize this whole theme in just one sentence, it would be this. Relationship with others is absolutely not a skills issue, it's a life issue, and it flows directly from God. In the secular world, we're constantly bombarded with advice on how to network, how to communicate better, or how to resolve conflict using all these psychological tools. But when we look at the biblical background, specifically that incredibly unique relationship between Jesus and his disciples, we see something radically different. Jesus didn't hand his disciples a manual on networking. No way. He gave them a completely new principle to live by, and the unique mark of a true disciple was simply love. So our relationships aren't just everyday secular interactions. They're a direct outpouring of our foundational connection with God. And if that root connection isn't healthy, well, no amount of human effort or communication skill is ever going to produce genuine, lasting love.
To really wrap our minds around this, we need to unpack a few core concepts, starting with the heart. A heart connected to God naturally overflows with his love toward others. Think of it like a beautiful fountain. The water doesn't actually originate in the basin, right? It flows from a deep, unseen source. It's the same with us. If we're right with God, we will naturally be right with others. It's an inevitable principle. On the flip side, if our heart is disconnected from God, we're inevitably going to face friction in our relationships. Why? Because we're essentially trying to draw water from an empty well. We simply cannot give a love that we do not possess.
This deep, fountain-like connection brings us to what it truly means to be heartfelt. Now, in modern terms, we usually use the word heartfelt to describe, say, an emotional apology or a super warm greeting. But here, it means something so much deeper. It means selflessly loving our enemies by actually living in the Father's life rather than relying on our own human calculation. When someone hurts us, our natural human calculation is to retaliate, to judge them, or just build a massive wall. But a truly heartfelt response, one that is rooted in God, is the ability to forgive and bless the very people who hurt us. And let's be honest, that is not a human ability. It's this beautiful, supernatural expression of stepping completely out of our own selfishness and stepping right into the Father's life.
And here's the amazing part. When these heartfelt relationships really begin to spread, it leads to our third concept, revival. We so often think of revival as this massive, emotional stadium event. But in its truest, everyday form, revival is simply life multiplying life through cross-generational relationships. It's moving from division straight into unity. It's a corporate restoration. It happens when different generations and different churches stop competing with each other and actually start working together to pass on life. When you combine the passionate fire of the youth with the seasoned, grounded wisdom of the elders, you get the unstoppable power of God's kingdom. So revival isn't just about some individual awakening. It's about repairing the torn fabric of our relationships so that God's love can flow freely across an entire community. This brings us to a really beautiful truth found in 1 John. Chapter 4, verse 7 tells us, "Dear friends, let us love one another, for love comes from God." This verse perfectly anchors our main argument. Loving others isn't some separate task on your to-do list alongside loving God. It is the outward evidence of it. John actually goes on to say in that very same chapter that whoever claims to love God yet hates a brother or sister is a liar. Wow, it's a gentle but definitely firm reality check. If God is love and God lives in us, then his love absolutely has to flow out of us. Our relationship with others is literally the visible, tangible proof of our invisible relationship with God.
But what happens when this love is put to the absolute ultimate test? In Matthew chapter 5, Jesus gives us this incredibly challenging command. He says, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." This challenges us to stop judging and start praying for the unlovable. When we calculate and retaliate, we are just trapped in ourselves. But when we choose to forgive and bless, we demonstrate that we are truly living in God's life. It totally transforms our interactions from a space of conflict to a space of divine help and grace.
When we step up and live out this kind of radical love, it builds an undeniable legacy. God's plan is literally never accomplished in isolation. Just look at history. Moses brought the people out, but he absolutely needed Joshua to lead them in. David gathered all the stones and materials, but it was Solomon who built the temple. Elijah's prophetic office was powerfully continued by Elisha, and Mordecai's guidance, that empowered Esther to step up and save her entire nation.
True relationship isn't just about getting along and being nice. It's about passing the baton of faith forward and fulfilling a grand purpose together. So this leaves us with a pretty stark choice. When individuals or churches decide to compete with one another, the result is always division. It brings loss, it shatters our legacy, and it totally fractures our witness to the world. But when we connect in genuine unity, that sparks revival and expands the kingdom. Who you choose to build relationships with, and exactly how you build them, determines whether you are truly walking in God's will. We aren't just meant to loosely network with each other, we're called to make disciples and share a unified, kingdom-minded life.
All right, so the crucial point here is how we actually put this into practice in our modern, everyday lives. Because theology is beautiful, but it absolutely must transform our Tuesday mornings, right? Here are 3 simple daily exercises to help you build God-centered relationships. Number 1, intentionally bless someone daily. Don't wait for someone to be good to you first. Take the initiative today to offer a word of encouragement or an act of care. Number 2, pray for a difficult person for 3 days. When someone really frustrates you, don't just avoid them or judge them. Commit to bringing them before God and genuinely asking for their well-being. And number 3, care for a spiritual companion. Please, don't let your relationship stay surface level. Intentionally walk alongside a new believer or a friend and help each other grow closer to God.
To bring this all together into one powerful thought, true relationship is about letting God's love flow through you to renew individuals, to pass on life, and ultimately to expand His kingdom on earth. It's a deeply spiritual mission, not just a social necessity. So I want to leave you with this reflection question to carry with you. How will you let God's love flow to build a genuine, life-changing relationship today? I really encourage you to take that first step. Reach out in love and just watch how God transforms both your life and the lives of the people around you. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. May God bless you.